All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Canada Hoops. It's your boy Matty. Thank you for your continued support. Please keep downloading and sharing us. Check out our YouTube channel. Find us on Instagram and X.com. Our wonderful guest today joins us to share a bit of her basketball story and to give us some insight on what it's like to lead an impactful family for Canada basketball. She represents Sudbury, Ontario, and is a former Laurentian Voyageur. Give it up for Shelley Swords. Shelley, thank you so much for joining us on Canada Hoops.
Thank you for having me. This is so awesome.
Yeah, I just think it's cool. We talked about before we hit record, just the impact that a family needs to make. For players and athletes, and the sacrifices and the effort and commitment. And I thought, I know you support us, and we appreciate that. And so I'm glad you agreed to do this to share a little behind the scenes. And it's obviously been a busy, really probably year, and at least for you guys. How are things? Just let our listeners know how you're doing and the family's doing, and just kind of
We're
where
doing
everyone's
great.
at.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
doing great. We had a busy summer, as you know. We were at the World Cup with Savvy with the U17s, and they won the silver. And so Sean and I went to that. It was in Mexico, and then we were back for 3 days, and then headed off to France to support Sila at the Olympics. So we were in Lille, and then we went to Paris for a little bit. And now we're back home. So we're all kind of just decompressing a little bit. This is the first chance in a long time that we've all been together and just kind of relaxing. We're up in Canada, and so we're just taking some time to be a family together before Sila goes off to Michigan.
what's with those tournaments that hit the schedule, and going to Mexico and France. Like, is there ever a thought where you and Sean can't do that? Like, I mean, that's um, I know most families are trying to make that work, but just uh, I always see you and or Sean at a lot of games and
Hmm.
tournaments. Is that something like you just really focus on it and try to make happen?
Yeah, we love being there. Like that's my favorite thing to do in the whole world is to go watch my kids play basketball. So
Yeah,
I try and make it happen. And I have a job that's pretty flexible, so I can do that. Sean kind of he's got a bit tighter schedule with his job, so he tries to get to whatever he can. But we like that's all of our vacations are basketball tournaments. So
yeah.
luckily they're in good locations, so that's great for us. But we try to get to what we can, and we kind of just take it on a tournament by tournament basis to see if we can make it work or not. But yeah, I love it. I love it.
I know we talked about it, and Sila's about to head to Michigan. You guys
Mhm.
make that trip in a couple days. Obviously, I know she's excited, and it's time for the family to pivot where not everyone's going to be together, all full time all the time anymore. From what's Silas saying to you and Sean, just from her perspective, and starting this next step in her career. Like, what would you say her outlook and approach to this season is like?
She's really excited. Like she said, she's done high school. Like she's
Yeah,
ready to move on. She's ready to go play in the NCAA. She's excited for Michigan and just to be able to help that team. She has big goals, and so she's willing to work and ready to try and help everybody just be the best they can be and do great things this year at Michigan. So she's really excited. She's got a great setup. She's living with two basketball players this year in an apartment. So
cool.
we're gonna go help her get that set up. And yeah, she's used to being away. Like she's been away basically the last 2 months, and then all the training camps, the senior team and the junior teams, they've been away quite a bit. So having her away is kind of like we've been practicing that, but
Yeah,
it's hard, like because it's so she's moving out and not going to be under our roof anymore. So that's kind of hard as a mom and dad. Like we're kind of like so happy for her, of course, and so excited for her because we wouldn't want anything different. Like we were super pumped for her to take this next step, but also kind of like the end of an era of the four of us being together under one roof. So I
right.
think everybody goes through the same thing. So everyone will get through it. We'll be fine.
I saw her coach, like Kim, her upcoming coach, talk about just how excited she is for this freshman class. Like, she expects that group to have a big impact, and obviously Silo's going to lead that charge. So I think I think I mean, maybe we're a little biased here, but yeah, she's going to
Mhm.
have a great season, no doubt. I wanted to ask about, I can't remember if I asked Sila this when she was on the show, but um, did you and Sean weigh in a lot on the Michigan decision, or was that,
We were
really in
basically
her hands?
boards, like we were just there to listen. It's been a long process. She was talking to coaches for a long time before she made her decision. So she talked to us about stuff and just kind of bounced things off of us. But ultimately, it was her decision. Like she didn't really say, or maybe she did say, "What should I do?" But we didn't answer. Like it's like that's your decision. The by the time she got down to the schools she was looking at, in the end, we were happy with any of them. And then Michigan was great. Like coaches care about her so much, and so we were super supportive of when she came to that decision. But it was all her.
Yeah, no, like, um, it's a great program, right? And they have
Mhm.
a lot of tradition. So I thought, obviously, great choice for her. And um,
Yeah.
we'll probably hit on this throughout the conversation, but like, just kind of building off of that. Like how do you guys balance that coach? With no like a lot of knowledge in the game for you and Sean, but
Mhm.
you balance and sort of navigate that line between parent and coach and former players with a lot of experience. Like, is that something
Mhm.
that comes easy for you guys?
Well, for me, I was actually their coach for 10 years. I coached their club team and then I coached the school teams and the high school teams. So
Yeah.
while we were in Canada. So for me, what I decided was I was only going to coach them when we were in the gym. So like if the game was over, we're on our way home from the tournament, we didn't talk about basketball. I was their mom and I kind of set myself some real lines of when we talked about basketball and when we didn't. And then if we got to practice on Monday and like, oh, well, in the game, this is what you did, or here are some pointers, or here's what I saw. But I didn't I didn't want to be coaching them 24/7. And for
Right.
Sean, he coaches them a lot. He takes them we all go in the mornings still, like at high school where we were going in the mornings. He was taking them into Laurentian when they were little.
Right.
So he coached them a lot, like on individual stuff, and he watches video with them. He does a lot with them, but only when they ask him. So he doesn't ever say, "Here's what I think." It's always he waits for them to ask him, "Well, Dad, what did you think I did?" Or "Dad, can you watch some film with me?" So I think that we both realized that you can't, like, they don't want that. So
Yeah.
coached all the time, but if they're looking for it, then like especially Sean, like he does have so much knowledge. So they use that, but it's always if they come and ask first.
No, I think that's I want to say louder for people in the back. I think that's a great approach because I don't even know like, you know, if I would be able to do that. Not that, I have a ton of knowledge or whatever, but just I think that's refreshing to hear, right? It's kind of I think if maybe some parents took that approach, they maybe their child would have a higher ceiling, maybe if you will. It's just it's cool to hear. I think that's you know
Yeah,
uh,
it's hard to
so,
say what works for people, but that's what we've done anyway, and they seem to appreciate that we're not,
right,
driving home in the car saying, "Do this, do that," or
right.
yeah.
Um, well, take me back a bit. I know you were a really good player in your time, and obviously the game is a family affair in a sense for everyone. Just talk about basketball coming into your life and how you started to play and love the game and just grow your career.
Yeah, I started when I was in grade 7, I guess. And I really just loved it right from the get go, right through high school. And
Yeah.
then I decided to go Laurentian. Peter Ennis was the coach at the time. And he was the senior women's national team at the time. And he
Okay.
coached them in the Atlanta 96 Olympics. So that was a big draw for me. I kind of wanted to go out of town just to get that experience, but I wanted to play for Peter. So that was really excited. They just came off of back-to-back national championships, and Sean's sister was on that team with the national championships. And so it was just like that was kind of what I wanted to do. So I played there. We had some good years. I got to play with 3 future Olympians in Diane Norman, Sue Stewart, and Joy McNichol. So
Wow.
we had a pretty good team, and it was just like a really competitive environment. So that was a great experience for me. I really enjoyed my time playing at Laurentian. That's where I met Sean.
Right.
So Sean played at Laurentian. That's where we met, and then history from there.
Well, I know, like I've seen some of your awards, like you were outstanding student athlete, the Sylvia Sweeney Award, which is named after an icon, and then Rookie of the Year in the OUA East. Yeah, just a great career and
to find those, I guess.
well, Google has some tricks up its sleeve there. So no, but it speaks to your knowledge and experience and and obviously Sean as well, but just now that's you've set the path for
Mm-hmm.
Sila and Savvy, right? And then so were you and Sean together like when he was playing in Sydney in 2000?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay,
so
cool.
I went to Sydney. I went to the Olympics to support him. So that was fun to get to do it again this year.
Yeah,
Another family member.
full circle.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
was I tell this story quite a bit, but that was, really like the kickstart of my love for Canada basketball because I was like 18 in college, playing as well, trying to like get minutes and prove to the coach I needed a more time, and then we'd practice and you get home back to the dorm and shower and kind of chill for a bit, and then you'd have to get up at 2 in the morning to watch the games, and
Yes.
just seeing Sean and the rest of the guys make that run was just incredible. So I've been hooked on the program really ever since, right? And
That was a real Cinderella story back then because they weren't really expected to do that well. And they ended up, the format was a little different. It was 2 pools of 6. So they
yeah,
had 5 games in their round robin. And they ended up finishing first on their side, which was totally unexpected. And so it was just so amazing to watch because there was just a bunch of guys that work hard. There's only 2 NBA guys on that team, Steve Nash and Todd McCullough.
right.
And, the other guys are playing pro and, in Europe and stuff. But it was just such a great group. Like they had such a special bond and they still do. They still do. Like it was a very special group that they got to experience that. So I think that was part of what, like just Sean having those memories and that special experience was a big part of why our girls want to be part of Canada basketball and why they want to be at the Olympics. And like, it's just, it's something that's very deeply ingrained into them because of what happened at those 2000 Olympics. I think it all began way back then.
Yeah, it's I mean it's special for me. Just being a fan and watching, and I remember when like Sherman Hamilton came on the podcast and he was taking me through the tournament and the run, and they had to play Australia in that first game in Australia, just thinking like that everyone was trying to give them the L and they took that personally, and just talking to Jay Triano about it and just kind of behind the scenes. I mean, obviously people that follow Canada basketball know how special that team was, and
Mm-hmm.
they really are iconic in a lot of ways because it took 24 years to
Yeah.
get back on the men's side, right? And
Mm-hmm.
finally that happened this summer. But yeah, just a cool team and group of players and people. And I remember you could email like a general email back then just to kind of like send support. And, that was something that the players talked about. And I'm sure I probably sent a few as well. So just, yeah, cool that the connections carried over for so long. And,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
just
it's
kind
so
of,
great to see the men's team back. Like we were so excited for that.
oh, like, so I wanted to kind of touch on Paris, just kind of, you know, obviously the men are there, the senior women's team, obviously, and Silas playing for them, and then the 3x3 team. Was there um, a big sense of like Canada basketball family and community there? Because I saw a lot of
Hmm.
stuff where everyone was getting together, whether it was like say people affiliated with the women's team, but hanging out with people with, from the men's team. Like it felt like a real Canada basketball
Mm-hmm.
family and community there, no matter who you were kind of with.
Yeah, when we went to the games, they kind of sat us all together or mostly together. So you'd see like, there were so many families there. So that was awesome. Everyone has their Canada jerseys and their Canada flags. So that was kind of cool to meet the other families and stuff like that.
Right.
And then also in the arena, which I think it sat like 22,000 or something like that, you'd see Canada flags kind of just throughout. Like, I don't know where these people came from, but it was so awesome to see so much support for Canadians.
Right.
And another thing was that we went to the Canada House. So they had a place there where all Canadians could go. And then you just kind of mingle. They had food and drinks and, kind of things to do there. So we got to meet up with some other people there too. So it was a good, like, you just feel so proud to be Canadian when you're at a place like that. You're wearing your Canada stuff, and it was so amazing just to be there and be Canadian.
Yeah, it seemed really cool. Like I know, um, I went to Victoria in June. My family and I, we made a little trip out of it, and when the women were playing the
Yeah.
exhibition game against Portugal, and just chatted with Sila real quick, and a lot of the other players who have come on the podcast, and we're grateful for that. But just even when you're at like little games or events like that, you just see you just always see the Canada basketball community out, right? Which is super great. And I've done that a couple times in Victoria, and it's a great spot to do that. And then I went to Vegas last month for the men's showcase game, and
That would have
and
been fun.
yeah, and same thing, right? It's like you get around there, and then fortunate to get some media accreditation, so kind of
Mhm.
backs behind the scenes, and whether you're around the women's team or the men's team, it's just you might see some of the same people or new people and old friends, and I just as big as the Canada basketball community is, it's also appears to be small, right? So I think that's
Yeah,
cool,
it's
and I'm
definitely
glad
small.
everyone comes together. Yeah,
Yeah, you see people, just random places. It's kind of funny.
yeah, it's I think it's a special program in that sense. I wanted to touch on when Sean got the job with the Nets there, and then
Mhm.
the girls looking to obviously play down there. Just talk about that family move and decision. I know
Mm.
Sila touched on it in her episode, but just take me through that and how that starts to build and gain momentum for the family.
Yeah, well, it was tough. As a mom, I'll give you my perspective of it
Yeah,
because I'm trying
yeah,
to just make everybody, okay and make this
yeah,
work for everyone. But I was a little bit nervous because the girls were both involved at Llewellyn Prep here, which is an amazing program. Jem Bourget and the whole Bourget family really has coached them for their whole lives. So we were in a really good situation. They were doing great academically. They were doing great in basketball, and they were like Silo was already getting offers. Like thought things were pretty good. So to pull them up and bring them somewhere else was kind of scary.
right,
But, things with Laurentian, like after COVID, and then things happened. Sean started pursuing the MBA, and then something came up, and it was a little earlier than we had expected because we thought, well, maybe when the girls are done high school, we'll make this move. But it came up, and then you don't necessarily want to turn something down. Steve Nash was the head coach of Brooklyn at the time, so that was kind
right,
of like, okay, here's a great opportunity to get in and prove that you're a good coach, which he is. So we were on the fence about whether we should go as a family or just let him go and see if he liked it and see. And Sila was the one that said, no, we're doing this together. So we did some research online and kind of looked to see which teams were good in New York and academically as well. So we found Lehigh, which turned out to be such an amazing, like the whole thing turned out to be such an amazing decision for the whole family because like Sean's pursuing his dream as a professional coach, which he loves. And then the girls ended up, like their team at Lehigh was amazing.
right,
Just having that caliber of kids to play against every single day. And then the competitions they were in, the coaching staff is amazing. Like they just, Christina Rady is the head coach at Lehigh, and they all do. There's four of them: Derek Klein, Leon Pursue, and Taylor Kenny. They're they care about the kids so much, and they're just trying to make them better. They're trying to make them ready for college, and they do such a great job. So just to step into that, like it's almost like being in college before you're in college,
yeah,
and really got them ready. And like their teammates were amazing. Like it just really got them ready for the next level. Like I think it helped Sila get ready for the senior team, just playing against the best players in the United States. Like they had such a tough schedule. They're playing against all the best players, all the best high school players in the United States. So it ended up being a great move. The school is great. It's just a little like 450 kids at the school. Everybody
nice,
knows everybody. So it was kind of I was nervous moving to New York from Sudbury because it's, sounds a little bit crazy, but we live on Long Island, and that's where Long Island Lutheran is. And it's not overwhelming at all. It's a cute little campus, and
cool.
everybody's so friendly, and it ended up just being great professionally. And like for the girls, it was a great move for us.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell it's paid off, and
Mm.
smart decision, and maybe for Sila to speak up, like, yeah, we're all doing this, and
Yeah.
good for her career, and obviously Savvy's on a massive track too, and
Mm.
um, so I think the Canada basketball community is probably very happy for you all, and it looks like a great situation for you and your family there. Just we'll wrap up with some Canada basketball stuff. Like I know whether it's Lutheran or now Michigan for Sila and even Sean with the Nets, like when the detail and the energy and the focus comes to Canada basketball, like every point in everyone's career like takes that, but where's when the discussions are around the red and white, like what's that, it's Sean did it, now the girls are doing it, like what are those conversations like for you guys, Shelley? Like just kind of take me through that and like the conversations you tend to have.
Um, I think I don't know. It's just kind of ingrained. We don't really talk about doing it because
Right.
it's just a known thing that both of the girls want to play in the Olympics. Like Sila just did it. Savvy wants to do it as well. So we talk about it like, okay, here's a goal, and we're like just taking the steps. Like those are what are the steps that you need to do on a day-to-day basis to get you there. And they love it. Like they're never forced to do anything. They do it because they want to go do it because they have these big goals. And so maybe even if they don't want to do it, they still go do it anyway, which is kind of what I've learned from my kids is like, oh,
Right.
you don't feel like working out, but they still just go do it, and you do it, you get it done, and then you come back. And so I think that there's just such a passion to play for their country. It's an honor. Like they see it as an honor, like you're playing for all these people that are, rooting for you, and
Yeah.
all the people that have put so much into you, like all their coaches that have poured so much into them over the years. Like I think that they're just playing for all these people, like they're just so excited to have Canada on their jersey. So I think it's not really saying, like, we don't talk about whether you want to do it or not. Like they just want to do it.
Yeah.
They're super excited. And yeah, the conversations we have, like we're just happy to support them. Like whatever they want to do, we just try and make it happen. Like that's kind of our role as what we do as parents is they know what they want. Like they have these vision boards. I think Sila may have mentioned it, but they know what they want. And like we kind of say, well, what are the steps to getting there? So we talk about that, and we just kind of support them and trying to help them do those things.
Yeah, I know. Like around Father's Day, Canada basketball dropped that piece with
Mm-hmm.
Sean and the girls, right? And it was hitting everybody deep for big time, and
I cried for sure.
yeah, I probably did as well. So I mean, just from that you get a sense of Silent and Savvy seem very like self-driven, right? And
Definitely.
I know, and probably in a lot of ways it's easy for you and Sean to just support them in that and let them kind of take charge, right? And I think um, that's cool to see from a young person in their career. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't think a lot of them, not I don't say a lot of them, but not all of them have that focus or mental fortitude. So I thought that was cool, and clearly they get it from two great people to do that. And
Thank you.
what? Yeah. What's like what's on the horizon for everyone? Obviously, like Canada basketball wise, like um, does Sean ever look at opportunities to jump back in? Like,
Yeah, he would love to. He would
yeah,
love to. Like that would be his dream too, is to get back into, like he's coached at the junior level for so long,
right,
and he would love to get involved with the senior level and coach. Yeah. So and then with the girls, we're just looking ahead to next summer. Like hopefully Sila will be involved in AmeriCup, and it would be amazing if they could both play together on the U19
yeah,
World Cup. We'll see if that happens, but that would be lots of fun.
yeah.
But yeah, just but first, like they've got their seasons, like Michigan, and then
I
another,
know,
Lou High. They're both got, they want to get better and help their teams win, so they're focused on that right now and just having fun. Like you got to just keep enjoying it, and the work is there, but it has to be fun, or else you don't want to. Like you have to make it fun when you go in. Like it's hard work, but
right,
yeah, they enjoy it.
absolutely. All right. who is Shelley Swords' top five or favorite five?
Favorite
Kind
five.
of top or favorite five, whatever you want. I think we probably know who a couple or a few are, but
Yeah.
give it to us.
So my favorite five, in no particular order.
Okay. Yeah.
Savvy Swords.
Yeah.
Savvy Swords. And Sila Swords.
Yeah.
Sean Swords.
Yeah.
And then my two more, Steve Nash would be right up there.
Nice.
Obviously, he's an amazing player, and for those reasons, but also the impact he's had on my kids. We watched a video, I don't know how long, many years ago now. It was about positive touches. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but they did a study on how many times he high fives his teammates during a game.
Wow.
And it was crazy. It was like, I don't know, 240 times he high fived his teammates during one game. And it was really impactful. They talked about how that helps winning and how that helps people be connected and stuff like that. Anyway, it'd be cool that you can Google it. But my kids watched it and they're like, we're going to do that. So they kind of try and do that where they're just always, high-fiving their teammates and be the first to go pick someone up if they fall on the ground and those sort of things. So that was Steve Nash's impact on my kids.
Nice.
And then my fifth one would be Diane Norman. She was my teammate at Laurentian. She was in 2 Olympics and Hall of Famer, like just an amazing impact on the women's game of basketball in Canada. So
I love it. That's a great five. I know. Listen, Steve gets mentioned a lot. Obviously, he's in mine too, and we've had some former women's players show a lot of love to Diane as well. So super great. I love it. And listen, there's so many great people out there in the program. Like it's sometimes it's a hard question. Not so much for you in a sense, but
my 3, and then I got to stress in no particular order.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like, can you just mention my name first?
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll get Savvy on at some point, and she can maybe throw some other names around or the order. Shelley, anyone else you'd want to see join us on the podcast who's got a good Canada basketball story?
I don't know. Don't put me on the spot. I don't know. I should have thought about it earlier, but there's so many people. So I'm sure a lot of great guests.
I'm trying to think. I must have messaged Sean. I'll have to look. I message a ton of people, but I'm sure I've reached out to Sean. So maybe we'll try to get Sean on here, and we'll get going on that. Any shout outs or thank you before I get you out of here? And again, we appreciate this a lot.
Oh gosh. I just want to thank, like, so many people have made this journey possible for my kids. Like, so many people, from all their coaches, all their teammates throughout, I've already mentioned the Lehigh coaches, the Llewellyn coaches. Kia Nurse Elite has been a great program over the summers for my kids. Jason Hurley, who's the women's coach here at Laurentian, he's been amazing, like just letting my kids scrimmage with Laurentian women when they were young and training them. Like, there's just so many people that it takes to make this happen, like people opening gyms. And so it's definitely not just them, or it's not just a family. Like, it just takes so many people that support them and want success. So I'm just so grateful to, like, Canada Basketball for including them. Like, there's so many people that it takes to build, to build what they're building. And so it's just, it's awesome. It's nice to have so much support around us.
No, well said. And we want to thank you for joining us, and we want to wish you and the rest of your family all the best moving forward. And, we're looking forward to supporting you even more.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.